Right, so for the next one is what I always call the lollipop trees. And there are trees that just seem to naturally grow in this shape, but they're very common as well around some of the National Trust properties and places like that. So they are these trunks with these great big puffball tops. Now I'm just using this on the paper that we've already got. More often than not, if you're painting these things in, you're going to be painting them on a background, so you might as well get used to it from day one. So I'm going to wet the shapes. I've put some pencil marks around the outside. Normally, if I'm painting this on a painting, these pencil marks are very, very pale. So I'm just damping in and then lifting out the excess blue. It really doesn't matter because we're going to be adding green. Now, I've got two close together, one behind the other here. So you would need to be a little bit careful if you were doing this in a painting, or do them one at a time and wait for one to be dry. But I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to assume that I've got more light coming towards these, coming from the sort of top left side. So I'm going in first of all with some lemon yellow. Now, I wouldn't normally paint trees in with less than 3 different shades of green. This is, believe it or not, a lemon yellow, but it's out of my palette, so it's not a pure lemon yellow. So I've got that. Then I'm going in with some sap green. Now, I'm not separating these colours. I'm encouraging them to blend together. So I've got my sap green going in. And because the paper's damp, it's not running wet. I just hasten to add that. It's not running wet. But because it's damp, then these colours are all sort of mixing and merging. Now, we said the light was going to come in from sort of top left. So the top left and this side here will be lighter. This is my mix now of sap green that's got some burnt sienna in it. So it's a slightly more sagey green. It's not such a sharp green, and I'm just using the tip of the brush just to encourage some of these colours to sort of run out. Now, I don't want it to be a perfectly even, perfectly cut. We haven't had the tree guy out for a wee while, that's what we're saying. And then on my right hand side, this is my final mix. This is sap green with a little bit of the burnt sienna in it, and ultramarine blue. Yes, I know you're sick of hearing me say that, but ultramarine blue, as far as I'm concerned, it is probably the most useful blue that you can have in your palette. It's a great mixer for nearly everything. So I don't want this to have a separation, so it's not like this side's dark, this side's light. These colours are all mixing together, so I'm just assisting, but I want there to be a definite lighter bit on one side than the other. Now, I've got a little bit of a trunk at the bottom, nothing impressive. This is all we can see, so I'm just pulling this in. And again, I'm not worried about it mixing with the greens. Tap it off and just soften it in there. Little bit of the dark green around it, just to fix it in. Now, all I'm going to do, I've got some lemon yellow, not neat, but on this side, towards the top, I'm just going to put a few little drops more of the lemon yellow. Again, it's going to do the job for me. It's chasing the other colours about, and it just gives more light on that, or in that area, than in the other. So that's my first one. Second one, need to be careful, so I'm going to make sure it's damp, but I'm not going to dampen it too close to the edge of the other one. So back in with my slightly dirty lemon yellow. And you can just take it off the edge. It's one reason I don't like the solid pencil lines. They will, for whatever reason, pencil lines will show through almost anything in watercolor, no matter how careful you are. So from there, I'm going into my sap green. Again, I'm letting these colors overlap each other. But I'm keeping more light towards the top and just part way down that right hand side. I'm going to push this over here, and now in a moment I'm going to add in my darkest green. So I've got my sap green. This is my sagey sort of green. And then a small amount of the very dark green just on the tip of the brush, and I'm going to pull this in and around, just using the tip of the brush. As I say, if you were doing these normally, the easiest way to do it is to wait for one to dry before you start doing the other. But time is of the essence here, so we're just going to crack on and keep our knees crossed. So I'm going to put some more dark along the bottom here. And as it dries, these colours will carry on, finish blending together. Again, pick up a little bit of the brown, put a bit of a trunk in. I'm not worried about separating the colours too much. And then I've got another tree just here, which will do the same. So I'm going to damp him down. Got a little bit of lemon yellow still on my brush. Damp him down. Go in with the lemon yellow first. Get some broken edges, so make sure your pencil lines aren't constant. That's the best way I can put it. So going with the lemon yellow first. I'm giving him a little bit more lemon yellow than the others because he's standing out here on his own, so he's got light coming at him from everywhere, whereas they're casting shadows on each other. So I'm going in with my sap green. Again, not being too picky with it, just pushing it in. And then I'm going in with the olivey coloured green. So this is the one that's the sap green with the burnt sienna. And you can see as they start to blend and blur together, you get some nice results. Quite nice and natural. And now I'm going to go in finally with my darkest green, which is the sap green mixed with a bit of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. So it's a nice rich dark colour, and you can make this as dark almost to the point of being black, but it can give you some nice really good dark greens. So I'm keeping it nice and light, letting it all move around. Now at this point, if you think, oh, I might have overdone it with the darks, this is the point at which you can go back in with a little bit of lemon yellow, but just be mindful of where you're putting it. So there, and I'm going to pick up a bit of my dirty greeny brown colour now, put a little trunk on him so he's got his legs there to stand on. And then underneath here, well, why not? Let's just give them a little bit of something to stand on. And we'll go in with that, because obviously they'll be casting shadows all over the place. So that's my green with a little bit of the same trunk colour in. And then we'll just feed this down. And while it's wet, you can keep feeding it on. So all I'm doing now is allowing the brush to pick up bits of all the greens that I've mixed. It's giving me some nice natural look to the bottom of it. Moving into the realms of dry brushing. And now all I'm going to do is bash my brush open, literally, and just use the broken edges of the brush just to break that top edge up a little bit. And then down here, using the side of the brush, before it's dry, I'm just going to touch a few little bits of the darker greens through here and there. But I'm only using the side of the brush. Just gives it that nice look that it's not a perfect manicured lawn. Giving it a nice little bit of texture. Can even add in a bit of your browny green. There we go, not too perfect. So I think that's quite nice and clear. So good luck with that one.